Hello everyone, I'm Meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your noon news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. Now we've got breaking news out of Greenville, where Greenville Fire and Rescue has announced that Jeremy Anderson is the new fire and rescue chief. He was a battalion chief, a 20-year veteran of the department, and he was promoted to chief this morning. Deputy Chief Jesse Harris has been overseeing operations at Greenville Fire and Rescue after Chief Brock Davenport retired in August. Now, Davenport had a 26-year career with Greenville Fire and Rescue, working his way up to chief in October of 2023. Now, he had served as the interim chief for several months after Carson Sanders abruptly announced his resignation in February of 2023. Sanders was suspended by the city 1 year into the job. Now, no explanation was given by the city as to why Sanders was suspended. Anderson is the fourth to hold the job of fire chief since 2021. He began his fire service in 1995 as a volunteer firefighter in Shine. After a brief stint as a high school teacher and a coach, Anderson joined the Kinston Fire Department as a firefighter in 2005. He moved to Greenville the next year. Anderson said, quote, "As fire chief, my vision is to reinvigorate the department by reestablishing core values, improving communication, and fostering stronger relationships both internally and externally. I'm committed to rebuilding trust within our ranks and creating a unified, purpose-driven culture that reflects the pride and professionalism for which Greenville Fire and Rescue has long been known." End quote. Congratulations to Chief Jeremy Anderson. And now we want to turn our attention again to the ongoing peace deal now it's in Egypt, as President Trump has touched down and has shaken hands with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel. Here's Alice Barr with more on the details of the hostage and prisoner exchange that occurred earlier this morning.
Joyful reunions today in Israel for the final 20 living hostages back in their families' arms and back in the light after 2 painful years of darkness and deprivation in Gaza. In Tel Aviv's Hostage Square, Israelis cheering the moment they have prayed and protested for and chanting "Thank you, Trump," as President Trump addressed the Knesset, Israel's legislature, celebrating the peace deal he brokered.
This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East.
The president met with hostage families before traveling to Egypt for a peace ceremony and summit with world leaders, seeking to cement a final end to the war. Israel and Hamas have so far agreed to phase 1, the exchange of hostages for Palestinian prisoners. While the fighting pauses, Israeli forces pull back to new lines within Gaza and desperately needed aid flows in. But thornier questions remain about Hamas disarming and leaving power and how to govern and rebuild Gaza as Palestinians flood back to whatever remains of their homes and face an uncertain future. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Well, thank you, Alice, for that report. We now want to turn to your weather forecast. Looking at, again, gray, gloomy skies today, but we've got sunshine on the way coming up for tomorrow and lasting through the end of the week. Let's take a look at what we've got outside right now. Again, high pressure off to our west is going to be fairly stationary. Doesn't want to move a whole lot. And that, of course, is keeping, again, gray skies over eastern North Carolina right now. Not to worry. Not to worry. Again, that high is, well, it's not going to do a whole lot of moving. It will actually expand quite a bit. And that expansion is going to help shove that area of low pressure further off of our coast, leaving us with improving sky conditions over the next 48 hours. By the time we get to Wednesday morning, most, if not all, of eastern North Carolina is going to be soaking up the sunshine and enjoying some warmer air temperatures. However, there's that, I don't know if you guys saw that cold front further back towards the west. That will eventually roll its way through eastern North Carolina as a dry front. We're not anticipating any sort of rain showers to come with that system, but we will see a bit of a temperature drop going from Wednesday into Thursday and Friday. We'll get to that aspect of your forecast coming up in just a few moments, but want to highlight again your visible satellite showing cloud cover throughout eastern North Carolina. If you're kind of wondering, okay, well, it's cloudy at my house. Is there a spot in the east where maybe I could drive to just to get a little vitamin D? Quick answer is no. Longer answer is, well, you're going to have to drive a long way off to the west before, again, you reach some of those sunnier conditions. Rain showers, though, not a big part of today's forecast. Just about a 20 to 30% chance of rain. We had some drops earlier today around Duplin County, but now looks like Onslow County is kind of the exclusive home for the light showers coming down across eastern North Carolina. Just really kind of focused over Onslow County. Here's a look at your current air temperatures. Right now, most of us in the low to mid 60s. However, as you get closer to the water, you are seeing a little bit more heat. We've got 67 degrees in both Hatteras along with Stumpy Point. Obviously, today is not going to be a warm one. We're not looking at any sort of afternoon sun break that will, push these air temperatures back into the mid to upper 70s, even low 80s. Not in the cards coming up for today. Most areas around 5 to 10 degrees cooler than where we were 24 hours ago, and your current winds are a big reason why. That and, of course, the cloud cover keeping the sunshine away. Winds out of the north currently blow in at around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Normal is around 5 to 10 miles an hour. So again, we are experiencing some stronger winds, and that will help keep humidity down, but it's also going to keep us cool for today. I do want to talk about Tropical Storm Lorenzo. That is the only system in the Atlantic right now with a name, and it's a system that is not going to get anywhere close to North America, or even the Caribbean for that matter. This is a system that's going to continue to kind of curl its way back around towards Africa as it stays essentially in the eastern half of the Atlantic Basin. Right now, Lorenzo has maximum sustained winds of 50 miles an hour, moving northwest at 16 miles an hour. However, pressure has fallen since the last update, now down to 1,002 millibars. Previously was at 1,006 millibars. So a little bit of a drop there indicates, again, some potential increase in wind speeds around that low. But again, not going to impact us at all. Nothing on your 8-day forecast says tropical weather, especially with those overnight lows dipping down into the upper 40s for Wednesday night, mid 40s for Thursday night, and back into the mid to upper 40s there coming up for Friday night. So get ready for a bit of a chill. The jackets may be necessary at times this week, particularly early on in the morning for kids who are going to be waiting outside for the school bus. But rain showers again continue to diminish throughout eastern North Carolina over today and tomorrow. Tomorrow again, we do have a slight chance of a few coastal drops in the cards, but it's certainly not going to affect all of eastern North Carolina. Most areas again will be dry and will stay dry until we get to the upcoming weekend, where maybe a few drops could be possible as some disturbances kind of cruise nearby eastern North Carolina. Certainly nothing you need to go changing any plans over or worrying about quite just yet. Well, that's all we have time for today's noon news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. I want to thank you so much for joining me. We'll be back with more news and weather coming up at the top of the hour. Until then, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Monday.
This hour of the WITN First Alert Desk is sponsored by Supreme Choice.